important aspects of training young birds in pigeon racing. Training young birds in pigeon racing involves several essential aspects. Firstly, they should be in their own compartment where they are beginning to learn social behavior with their fellow flock mates. Secondly, when feeding the birds, the trainer should whistle or call to them, which will help them associate the whistle with being fed. This helps to train them to come to the call, which is important for race day and getting spooked birds down. Next, the young birds should be let out for the first time once they are able to move around the loft and perch at higher levels. The trainer should create a Sputnik cage on top of the landing board to introduce them to the outside world and protect them from predators such as hawks. After a few days, the trainer can let them out on their own. Once the birds are trained to come back to the loft, the trainer can start letting them out on the roof without the Sputnik cage. They will stay on the roof as long as they are not too strong on the wing. Basket training is also an important aspect of training young birds. To start, the trainer should place the birds in the training crates and leave them alone for at least an hour to get used to the cramped quarters and the new environment. Finally, road training serves multiple purposes, including familiarizing the birds with their surrounding area and conditioning them. The trainer should begin road training by training them about 4 miles from the loft, give them at least 3 tosses where they fly straight home and not release them after they have eaten. Training young racing pigeons can be a challenging task, but with the right approach, it can be rewarding as well. Here are some tips that may help. Start with short distances. Young pigeons need to build up their stamina and endurance gradually. Start with short distances, such as 1 or 2 miles, and gradually increase the distance as they become more experienced. Establish a routine. Pigeons thrive on routine, so establish a regular feeding and training schedule. Consistency is key to developing good habits in your birds. Use positive reinforcement. Reward your birds with treats, praise, and affection when they complete a training session successfully. Positive reinforcement will encourage them to continue to work hard and perform well. Train in different weather conditions. Pigeon racing can take place in all kinds of weather, so it's important to train your birds in different conditions, such as rain, wind, and heat. This will help them adapt to changing conditions and perform better in races. If they get a bad training toss. If your young racing pigeons had a bad training toss, it's important to give them a rest and time to recover before attempting another training session. Here are some tips for giving your birds a break. Provide fresh water and food. Make sure your birds have access to clean water and fresh food during their rest period. This will help them recover more quickly and maintain their health. Keep them in a comfortable environment. It's important to keep your birds in a comfortable environment during their rest period. Make sure they have a clean and dry loft, with plenty of ventilation and natural light. Observe them closely. Keep an eye on your birds during their rest period to make sure they are not showing any signs of illness or injury. If you notice any problems, consult a veterinarian immediately. Gradually reintroduce training. When you're ready to start training your birds again, start with short and easy training tosses to help them regain their confidence and stamina. Gradually increase the distance and difficulty of the training tosses as your birds become more experienced. Remember, rest is an important part of a successful training program for young racing pigeons. Giving your birds the time and care they need to recover from a bad training toss will help them become stronger and more resilient athletes in the long run. Monitor their health. Regular health checks are essential to ensure your birds are fit and healthy. Look out for signs of illness, such as lethargy, loss of appetite, and unusual behavior, and take action if you notice any problems. Join a club or find a mentor. Joining a pigeon racing club or finding a mentor who has experience in the sport can be incredibly helpful. They can provide advice and support, as well as help you connect with other enthusiasts. Remember, training racing pigeons takes time, patience, and dedication. But with the right approach, you can develop a strong bond with your birds and achieve success in the racing world. Gradually increase the distance. Start training your young pigeons by releasing them a short distance from their loft. Gradually increase the distance over time so that they become accustomed to flying longer distances. Use a dummy bird. Using a dummy bird can be helpful when training young racing pigeons. This is a bird that has been trained to fly back to the loft and can be released with the young birds to encourage them to fly back as well. Train in good weather conditions. Train your young pigeons in good weather conditions so that they can build up their stamina without being hindered by harsh weather. Use a consistent routine. Establish a consistent routine for training your young birds, such as releasing them at the same time of day, using the same training routes, and following the same post-release procedures. Watch for signs of fatigue. Be sure to watch your young birds for signs of fatigue during training, such as slowing down or flying lower than usual. If you notice any of these signs, give your birds a break and bring them back to the loft. Monitor their health. Keep a close eye on the health of your young birds during training, looking for signs of illness or injury. If you notice anything concerning, seek veterinary care immediately. Be patient. Remember that training young racing pigeons takes time and patience. Be consistent, persistent, and positive, and your birds will eventually become skilled racers. These are the points you have to remember. Gradual increase in distance. Start by training your young pigeons over short distances, gradually increasing the distance as they become more experienced. This will help them build up their strength and endurance while minimizing the risk of injury. Use homing instinct. Racing pigeons have a natural homing instinct, which can be used to your advantage during training. Gradually increase the distance between the loft and the release point to encourage the pigeons to return home. Train at regular intervals. Consistent training is essential for the development of young racing pigeons. It is recommended to train them at least once a week, preferably on the same day and time. Use positive reinforcement. Reward your pigeons with food or treats when they return home from a successful training toss. This will help them associate training with a positive experience and encourage them to perform better in the future. Monitor their health. Keep a close eye on your pigeons' health and well-being during training. If you notice any signs of illness or injury, give them a break from training and seek veterinary care if necessary. Be patient. Remember that training young racing pigeons takes time and patience. Don't push them too hard or expect them to perform perfectly right away. With consistent training and positive reinforcement, they will gradually improve and become better racers over time.
To the pigeon's throat, and they call it the motor. You wonder why they call it the motor. But when you think about it, the throat, it's got to be called a motor, because this is how the oxygen gets into the pigeon. And without oxygen, he can't perform. It has to go into his body, into his lungs, then into his bloodstream. And then that's where the energy comes from. I think it's been found that a pigeon beats his wings in 1 hour 35,000 times. That's a hell of a lot of work. The oxygen has got to come into the body to help him do this. He's got to fill his air sacs, breathe out, breathe in, fill his air sacs, breathe out, breathe in. I think he has to do that every time he flaps his wings. So everything must be 100%. So the more perfect that pigeon's throat is, the more perfect the motor is. It's very important when you look at the throat of a pigeon, that the pigeon is calm. I like to close all the cockbirds in their nest box the evening before, and then go in the loft the following morning with my book and take each one carefully in my hand. When I open a pigeon's mouth, which I must stress you have to do very, very carefully. You don't go in it like a bull in a china shop and wrench the pigeon's mouth open. You look very carefully and you look to the back of the mouth. And at the back of the mouth there is a curtain. And the curtain is in 2 parts, just like they've been pulled together. What you want is one where they're put together and hanging dead straight, and you can barely see the line. Open a little bit, doesn't matter too much, but hanging at a wrong angle and open too wide, creased, no. It's got to be right straight in the middle, a line, and the curtain nice and even both sides. And that is the perfect throat. And you don't see too many. You don't see too many.
The old distance thinking was all beans and peas, or beans, peas and tares, which were marketed as channel mixtures. Well, actually you were doing exactly opposite of what you need to be.
I think a lot of fanciers fail to think just how much effort a pigeon puts in when he's racing. If you look how many times a pigeon's wing beats in a minute, I think it's something like 600 times in a minute or something like that. You can imagine the amount of effort and energy needed to do that. You have to put the fuel in the way of food. That's your petrol, so to speak.
Then the most important is give light food. It's not necessary that you or me, that we go all days to the restaurant, because on 1 month we are sick. That's also by the pigeons. So light food.
If they could come back now and see how fast pigeons come from 400, 500 miles on these light mixtures, carbohydrate and fats, they'd be astounded.
But the food doesn't want to be too strong, too rich, too much protein.
Even I can go back when 12 hours was nothing from Nance, and that was flying 360, 365 miles. There'd be 12 hours leading pigeons, and you'd get a few on the day. Now, I mean, they come as if they're coming from 50 miles, if it's anything like a day. It's just a total turnaround completely.
Right food, and that is the most important. Because with my food, you cannot give too much. They stop when they come on the barley. Barley, that's good word. They stop then. And when they stop on with barley, then you said, I am away to tomorrow, I come tomorrow back.
Get my main racing system, just email me direct. I'm an experienced ex-pigeon racer from England, and I can offer valuable insights and guidance on all aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to racing. During my racing days, I managed a small team of no more than 70 pigeons, including stock, young birds, and old birds. It was not uncommon for me to send as few as 6 birds to a race and still secure the top 3 positions out of up to 2,500 pigeons in my club and federation. My race distances typically ranged up to 300 miles, and I consistently achieved top 5 placements in my club. My expertise extends to the art of selecting excellent breeders, including evaluating pigeons based on their eye sign characteristics. I firmly believe that true champions can only be bred from top quality stock, and I can guide you in identifying and acquiring such pigeons. I understand that many pigeons for sale are advertised based on their lineage or pedigree, but I emphasize the importance of assessing the bird itself rather than relying solely on paperwork. As part of my offer, I invite you to share photos of your pigeons, including their eye sign and wing characteristics. I'll provide you with free advice on racing and breeding based on my extensive experience and knowledge. Additionally, I will share auction links to high-quality breeding birds that have the potential to produce winners in your loft. Here's what you can expect to receive from me. A comprehensive Word document containing valuable insights and strategies for successful pigeon racing, including specific racing methods for both old and young birds, as well as general advice. Private YouTube videos sent to your email, covering various aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to race preparation. Detailed recommendations on supplements and additives to add to your pigeon's drinking water, with scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness. Similar products are used by professional athletes and racehorses to enhance performance. Assurance that your pigeons will race home faster, provided that you have quality birds to begin with.